In 9.3b, we're going to solve by completing the square. This will be the third method we learned to solve quadratics. The first was factoring, and the second one was square root. So to complete the square, we're going to complete the square and then solve using square root. So I'm going to remind you how to solve using square root. So for example, 0, we're going to solve using square root. We can see, so the fastest way to cancel the squared is to square root both sides. Okay, if I square root both sides, the square root is canceling this little squared here, so I'm going to bring down the x plus 5. The square root of 49 is 7, but because we remember that when we square negative 7, we also get 49, we're going to put positive and negative 7 here. And then we're going to go ahead and solve this equation for x, and we should get two x values. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5 here. That'll cancel off this 5, and I'll bring down x equals, and then let me evaluate my two x values, because this is positive and negative 7, and then subtract 5. So if I start with positive 7, and I subtract 5, positive 7 minus 5 is 2. And if I do negative 7 minus 5, I get negative 12. So my x values are negative 2 and negative 12. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do b the same way, but our answer will be irrational. Since it's x minus 10 squared, to cancel the squared, I will square root. If I square root the left side, I'm going to square root the right side. Okay, the square root cancels out the squared. The entire x minus 10 expression comes down. Okay, now the square root of 13 is irrational, so I'm going to leave it as square root 13. But because I know when I square a negative, I also get a positive, my answers, I'm going to have positive and negative square root 13. And I will have square root 13 in my answer when I finish this problem. Okay, so this is x minus 10, so to cancel the minus 10, I'm going to add 10. The minus 10 and positive 10 cancel, so I have x equals, and then when I write my answer, this is a positive 10, I'm going to put the rational part first and the irrational part second, so the plus or minus square root 13. And remember, we cannot add these because they are not like terms. One has a radicand of 13 and the other one's not even a radical. Remember, this does represent two answers because I have 10 plus the square root of 13 and 10 minus the square root of 13. Okay, now we're going to add a step to this. We're going to complete the square, and then we're going to solve using square root. We did complete the square last class, and then we'll do the square rooting process after that. So remember, when we complete the square, I look at this x squared plus 6x, and I figure out what I can add to this expression so that I can factor it into a binomial square. Okay, so let me think. If I do 6 divided by 2, I get 3. So this is 3 plus 3. So if I do 3 times 3, there must be a 9 here to complete this square. Okay, which is what we did last class and which is great, except for I had this equals 16 here, so I can't just drop that. So let me bring down the equals 16. Okay, now because I added 9 to the left side of the equation, I have to also add it to the right side of the equation to balance the equation. Okay, now the reason we completed the square here is so we could factor it into a binomial square. A binomial square, remember, is something plus something squared or something minus something squared. Because this is x squared, this must be x. And then this is, to get 9, it's 3 times 3. And because it's a positive 6x, this must be a plus 3. On the right side, if I do 16 plus 9, I get 25. Okay, now that it looks like this, I can solve it using square root. And I'm just rewriting it to show the step. Okay, now I can do all the steps we've been doing by solving using square root. So I'll square root both sides. X plus 3 equals, the square root of 25 is 5, but I'm going to also include negative 5 because when I square negative 5, I also get positive 25. Subtract the 3 over. Remember, this is two different rational answers. I have positive 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then I have negative 5 minus 3, which is negative 8. Okay, let's go ahead and try the next one. And we're going to solve by completing this square. So our first step is to fill in the blank here. So I'm going to bring down the x squared and the minus 10x. I'm figuring out what I add here to complete this square, and I'm going to go ahead and bring down the equals and the negative 21 because now I know I need to keep those in mind. Okay, remember to complete this square, I'm going to think, what do I add to itself to get 10? 5 and 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so 5 and 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So this must be 25 here. And the reason I did that is so I can factor it into something squared. It'll be x because it's x squared. Since it's 25, it's 5 times 5. And since it adds up to negative 10, it must be a minus 5. Okay, now, because I added 25 on the left side, I've got to add it on the right side to balance this equation out. Let me bring down the equal sign. Negative 21 plus 25 is positive 4. And then now that it looks like this, this is a problem I can solve using square root. And that's the whole reason we complete the square, so we can use square root to solve this. Square root of 4 is 2, but I'm going to put positive and negative 2 because when I square a negative, I also get a positive 4. Okay, let me add the 5 over. Okay, and then I'm going to get my two answers. Positive 2 plus 5 is 7. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And I was expecting it two answers because this is quadratic, it's degree 2. So I should get up to 2 answers. I'm going to do 2 more with you, and then I'm going to have you do the practice problems on your own. Okay, let's see. Complete the square. So I'm going to bring down the x squared plus 4x plus something, and the 11. Okay, to get 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. If I do 2 times 2, this must be 4. If I add 4 to the left side, I need to add it to the right side. Let's go ahead and factor this into a binomial square. X, this is 2 times 2 is 4, and it's positive because 2 plus 2 is positive 4x. 11 plus 4 is 15. Okay, now that I have the problem that looks like this, I can solve using square root, which you guys are pretty good at this point. X plus 2 equals positive and negative. The square root of 15 is irrational. Can we simplify it? Let's see, I could do square root 3 times square root 5, but neither square root 3 nor square root 5 are rational. So let's leave it as positive negative square root 15. Okay, and we normally put the rational part first and the irrational part second, although it's not wrong to do it the opposite way. Okay, let's try one more example because the last one has something a little funny to it. Okay, now I want to complete this square. So I see it has the x squared and the minus 2x here, but normally there's a blank here. Okay, but if I look at the equation, it's x squared minus 2x minus 7. This minus 7's in the way. I don't want the minus 7 to be there. So I'm going to cancel it to the other side. Since it's a minus 7, I'll add 7 over. Now I got rid of this. 3 plus 7 gives me a 10 over here. And now I have that blank spot here for me to complete this square. Say 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 1 means I'm going to add 1 to complete the square. If I add it to the left, I add it to the right. Okay, let me factor this into a binomial square. X, 1 times 1 is 1, and since it's a negative 2x, it must be minus 1. 10 plus 1 is 11. Okay, now I can solve it using square root. And I'm only rewriting it to show this step. You don't need to rewrite this step. Okay, x minus 1 equals positive negative root 11 is going to have to say square root 11 because it's irrational and it does not simplify. Let's add the 1 over. And I get x equals 1 plus or minus square root 11, which is a good answer, simplified and everything else. Okay, go ahead and try the practice problems. Check your answers at the end.